Hey guys, I'm Sofia. We're here today at Station 2. We have a quick hip opening yoga sequence for you. We're going to be focusing on the quads, the glutes, the hamstrings, and the hip flexors. It'd be great if you had access to a couple blocks and maybe a strap or towel of some sort and a yoga mat. If you need any of those things, please feel free to email Janet and she'll get them to your station. All right, let's get going. Go ahead and start in child's pose. So knees are going to go wide to the edges of the mat, big toes are going to touch, and then we're going to sink our hips back and walk the hands forward. So just let your chest melt down towards the ground, let your hips get heavy, and crawl your fingertips forward. Good, so let's take a few deep breaths here. Inhale through the nose, slow, deep, even breath, and exhale through the nose. So this deep breathing is what really sets yoga apart from stretching or any other similar practice, because we're really trying to calm the nervous system to encourage the muscles to relax and release, and also to let go of stress. So take one more big breath here. Really feel your rib cage expanding in all directions. Exhale completely through the nose. And then from here, we're going to slowly rise up. Keep your hands at the top of the mat, spread your fingers wide, tuck your toes under, and we're going to come up to downward facing dog. So step the feet forward a half a step, bend the knees, and now push through the arms, lifting the hips high, and trying to take roundness out of the low back. So really spinning the tailbone up towards the sky. Go ahead and kind of pedal the heels out. So sink the right heel down, and then the left heel. Keep that deep breath happening. If you have really tight hamstrings, you're going to need a deeper bend in the knees. And really draw your ears back between your biceps, looking back. Keep the neck relaxed. Good. Take one more breath there. Sink both heels down at the same time now, really opening up the back side of the legs. And then come back to child's pose. So knees go wide, sink back down. Take a couple more deep breaths here. Fingertips crawl forward, stretching out through the sides of the body. So yes, we're focusing on the hips today, but everything else is going to get a chance to relax a little bit too. Good. Rising back up to downward facing dog. Roll up, take the hands back under the shoulders, tuck the toes under, lifting the hips up and back. So your stance shouldn't be too short here. You should be taking up most of the mat. Looks good, everybody. Good, sinking both heels down. Take one more long, deep breath. Exhaling through the nose. Then we're going to come up into our three-legged dog. So inhale, reach your right leg up to the sky. Keep your hips square to the mat, and keep that left heel sinking down so you're getting a deeper stretch in the back of that left leg now. So in one smooth action, we're going to try to shift forward into a plank pose. Take your knee with you into the chest and try to step that right foot all the way up between the hands. All right, so if that wasn't graceful, don't worry about it. Just take your right hand and walk that right foot forward. We want to make sure we have a 90-degree angle. So this is where blocks come in handy. So if you have blocks, go ahead and grab them. You can keep them right underneath the shoulders, untuck the back toes, and now just sink your hips down and forward here. Okay, so the blocks have 3 settings. This is the short, medium, tall. Depending on the length of your limbs and how flexible you are, you can adjust the blocks. So sinking in, keep the spine lengthening, and make sure that front heel is grounded. Good, so you should be feeling some stretch to the front of the left hip flexor, as well as the back of the right leg, and maybe some other places. Good, couple more breaths here. Try to release the resistance to the stretch, and don't push too hard. All right, from here, we're going to take the blocks if you have them, and we're going to start to straighten the right leg and pull the hips back. So walk the blocks back with you, and you may need to come to a higher setting here. So the right leg is going to be straight-ish, and if you don't have blocks and your hamstrings are really tight, just bend the knee a little bit more so you can comfortably get your hands to the floor. Okay, so from here, lengthen the chest forward, shoulders away from the ears, trying to create lots of space. And then just stay right where you are, or you can think about starting to fold a little bit. But we're trying not to round into the pose, so just fold forward a little bit without rounding. Good, you can also draw the right toes back towards the shin to add some calf stretch in there. Good, you guys are all looking very serious. That helps a lot. Make sure you're scowling the whole time. Okay, a couple more breaths here. You can try bending and straightening that right knee a couple times. See where you get the best stretch. Every time you do this, it's gonna be a little bit different, so just check in with where you are today. All right, coming forward again, take the blocks with you, and we're gonna move the right foot out to the right. So you can heel toe the foot out and move the hands to the inside of the right foot. So from here, this is called the lizard lunge. We're gonna try to sink a little bit lower. Okay, you can come down onto the forearms if that's available to you. You could use the blocks there as well. All right, you can also let the right knee fall out to the right slightly and kind of rock onto the outer edge of the right foot. Keep that right foot nice and active, and you should start to feel a deeper stretch through the right hip. Or, this is a nice challenge. If you can't get it today, don't worry. You can reach the right arm up and back, twisting to the right, and see if you could maybe grab a hold of that left foot. Okay, so a lot of people will just get an immediate hamstring cramp there, so if that happened to you, just shake it out, come back when you're ready. Okay, if you can grab the foot, do it. If you're close to grabbing the foot, like Burchard is here, you can use a strap to loop over the top of the foot and pull the foot in towards you. So hips are lunging down and forward, you're either grabbing the foot or not, staying low, or just staying a little bit wider in that lunge stance. Good, couple more breaths here. Smooth it out. Slow, deep, even breath. And on your next breath, we're gonna make our way out of this. So release the foot if you have it. Bring your hands back. So to get out of this, you can either just tuck those left toes under and kind of step back to a plank, or you could kind of just come back to kneeling and then come to a plank. All right, so we're gonna take a vinyasa now, which is our plank pose. On an exhale, we're gonna lower slowly down to the mat, keeping your core nice and active. Roll the shoulders back, squeeze the legs together, cobra pose. You can stay low, or if your back is more flexible, you can start to come up a little bit, but really roll those shoulders back and down, broadening the collarbones. Exhale down. And come back to downward facing dog. Let's do that all on the other side. So downward dog, lift the hips high, sink the heels, ears between the biceps, and inhale, left leg floats up to the sky, three-legged dog. Good, so keep sinking that right heel. You should still keep that downward dog shape. And exhale, shifting forward to plank. Try to huck that left foot all the way up between the hands. Again, if it didn't make it there gracefully, don't worry, just use the left hand to guide it forward. All right, find those blocks if you're using them, if you have them. If not, you can stay up on the fingertips here and just start to let your hips sink down and forward. Okay, notice the difference from side to side. We're not super symmetrical, so know that one side might be a little bit harder for you, or maybe you have an injury or some sort of limitation going on one side. So make adjustments as you need to. Relax the shoulders down, spine is lengthening, hips are sinking down and forward towards the mat. 2 more breaths here. Inhale slowly through the nose. Exhale. Let your body soften deeper into the pose. 1 more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Pushing all of the breath out. Start to transition back to that hamstring stretch. So you use the blocks, take them with you, keep them under the shoulders. Again, find whatever setting you need to. And make sure you're not leaning all your weight over to the right hip here, so try to keep the weight even. Hips are square to the front of the mat. Now everybody lift the chest and roll the shoulders down the back. Okay, so right away you should feel the stretch intensify a little bit there. And then decide if you need anything more than that. If you want more, you start to fold forward. Okay, someday just put your forehead on your shin. Or just think about it. It's a great place to start. Trevor will now demonstrate. All right, couple more breaths here. Draw those left toes in, really opening up the entire posterior chain on that left leg, calf, hamstring, glutes, all the way up into the low back. Keep rolling those shoulders down. Let your body sink a little deeper. And rolling back forward, setting up that lizard lunge. So left foot moves out to the left towards the edge of the mat. Hands underneath the shoulders. So sink the hips down and forward again. You can use the blocks. You could maybe come onto the forearms here. Okay, if you grabbed the foot on the other side or had fun trying, then go ahead and do that again. So the right hand could be on the floor or a block. Left arm reaches around, twisting the spine, and then maybe finding the foot. Okay, again, you might have found it on one side and not the other. That's totally normal. That's just good information for you to have so that you can start to work on evening your body out. Good, so we're lunging down. The spine is staying nice and long. We're using a strap to grab the foot if we have one. Wherever you are, just be grateful to be there. You're already doing a lot more than many people have the possibility to do. Last deep breath here. Inhale. Lungs expanding. Exhale. Breath pushes out. Release slowly. And make your way back to plank pose in 26 moves or less. Tuck the back toes. Step back. Figure out how to get back to plank pose. Shoulders down the back. Smiling helps here. Exhale slowly down. Inhale. Back bend. Legs squeeze together. Hips push into the mat. Roll those shoulders back, everybody. Open up the chest. And exhale, downward facing dog. All right. From downward dog, again, press those hands into the mat, really lengthening the arms. Inhale, right leg's gonna lift up to the sky again. This time we're gonna bend the right knee and start to stack the hips on top of each other. So right hip on top of left hip. So keep your arms nice and active. Both hands are still pressing down. And take your right heel in towards your body and twist those hips open. Nice job. Good, breathe. And slowly straighten out the leg, turn the hips forward. Once again, we're gonna take that knee forward, but we're gonna place the shin on the mat. So shift forward into your plank. We're setting up for pigeon pose. So make sure that your knee is happy in this pose. Keeping the left toes tucked under, kind of walk that left knee back a couple more steps to get a little deeper into the pose. Okay, until you've reached your natural stopping point there. So the back foot should just lay flat on the floor and even out your weight side to side. The tendency is to kind of lean into the right hip here. So even weight. Now everybody try to lengthen the spine, roll those shoulders back, find that spinal extension again. And if you feel up for it, we're gonna go on an adventure, start to walk your hands forward and just kind of see where your body naturally stops. Again, blocks are always an option here if you're tighter. Otherwise, you could rest on the forearms, or you could maybe make a pillow for your forehead by stacking your hands and rest your forehead on your hands. Good. Let's take some long, slow breaths here. This is a really deep hip opener. We're working on the external rotators, the glutes. Most of us are pretty tight here. Also great for opening up the low back. And if you have sciatica at any point, this is your go-to stretch for that. So really softening into the pose. This is one of those nice poses that once we get it set up, you don't have to do a lot of work. You just breathe. Clearing your head. Let the mind be focused, feeling into the sensation of the body. Okay, this is a time that you set aside to work on yourself, so allow yourself to be present here. Get what you came for. Couple more breaths. Feel the effects of the breath. Rib cage moving, belly moving, exhaling completely. And take one more breath there. Exhale, and slowly start to rise up. All right, figure out how to get out of this. Again, you can just tuck those back toes under and try to step back to plank that way. If that didn't work out, find your own path back to plank. All right, vinyasa. We're lowering down on an exhale. Roll those shoulders back. So every time we do this, think about this as just kind of a neutralizing sequence here before we do the other side. Exhale down, tuck the toes, press back, downward facing dog. All right, other side for scorpion dog. So it helps to step your right foot over to the left just a hair, and then inhale, left leg floats up. We're still in a downward dog shape. Now bend the left knee and open the hips to the left. Hug that left heel in towards your body. This is a spinal twist. You probably feel some nice deep stretching going on in the inner right thigh. And exhale, straightening out the leg and shifting forward. Set up pigeon pose again. So that knee comes forward and try to move that left knee out to the left a little bit so it's not straight in front of your body, it's just right off to the side. All right, right toes tuck under, walk that right leg back. Okay, we're trying to get the hips to start descending towards the floor. If they're nowhere near the floor, you can always use a block and put it underneath your hip here, as long as it feels comfortable. So once you've figured out how low you're going, then let's all lengthen and start to fold. So we're trying to keep length in the spine as we come forward rather than just collapsing forward. All right, so this is my tighter hip. Maybe you're noticing the same for yourself. We're moving through these stretches pretty quickly today, just to give you lots of options, but I would love to know that you're doing these things on your own and taking a little more time, especially once you realize, hey, my left hip is a lot tighter than my right. Then maybe spend 2 minutes on your left hip and a minute on your right, or a minute and a half on your right, so you can start to balance yourself out. Good, so maybe resting the forehead on the floor, maybe staying up on the forearms, wherever you are. Let go of a little bit of tension. Try to relax the shoulders. And just enjoy a moment of stillness in your day. So a lot of the things we're cultivating in the yoga practice, mindfulness, focus, being present, are things that we can take off our mat and use in our day with our crew, with our families. So know that this practice is not just a physical practice. Take one more deep breath. Exhale completely. And walk yourself back up. Tuck those back toes under. Figure out how to get back to a plank. Shoulders down the back. Chest stays open. Exhale nice and slowly down to the ground. Roll the shoulders back. It's our last back bend here, so if you want to come up higher, now that you're nice and warmed up, you could come to almost straight arms, but make sure the elbows are spinning back. We're rolling those shoulders back. Nice job, guys. And exhale down. This is your last downward dog, yay. Feet are hip distance apart, hands are shoulder distance apart. Just remember what the first one felt like in comparison to the last. Spin that tailbone up towards the sky. And then we're gonna come all the way down to our back. So you can get there however you want. Maybe just walk your feet forward, sink back. All right, so if you have a strap, this is a great time to have it handy. You could also use a towel or whatever, t-shirt. So let's bend the knees and lay on the back, get comfortable for a moment. And then we're gonna take the right leg up towards the sky for a hamstring stretch. Okay, so if you have a strap, I would just loop it over the foot and grab wherever's comfortable on the strap. If you don't have a strap, just grab wherever you can, but try not to lift your head and your shoulders off the ground. Try to really relax there. So, right leg can be a little bent. Most of us have really tight hamstrings, so we need to bend the knee a little bit just to get into the right position. And then start to pull that leg just a little bit closer in towards your body. Again, shoulders are staying relaxed. If you want a deeper stretch here, you could straighten that left leg out on the floor. Left toes pointing up towards the sky. And again, just visualize that shin coming all the way down to rest on your forehead someday. Life goals. All right, so we're gonna just take this right leg over to the left a couple inches. So if you have a strap, you can grab both ends of the strap with your left hand. And then keeping your right hip on the floor, just draw the right leg over to the left a couple inches until you start to feel a stretch all the way down the outer strip of that right leg. So working on that IT band area can start to cause some knee pain if it gets too tight. So remember that your body is a kinetic chain, so tightness anywhere is going to affect every other muscle group in the body. So that's why yoga is great, because we start to work on everything all at once. All right, couple more breaths here. So it's not a really big movement. We're not rolling the right hip off the floor and letting the leg fall. It's just a little draw to the left. Good, one more breath there. You're also working on hugging the leg in towards your body still here. And slowly release. Go ahead and switch sides. If you have the strap, take it over the other foot. So let's start with right foot on the floor, bringing that left leg up to the sky. Relax the shoulders, and feel free to keep that knee nice and bent. All right, so drawing leg closer to the torso. Deeper stretch. You can straighten out that right leg, keeping it active, pressing the heel into the floor. Okay, it's normal to feel a little shaking in the leg, but it shouldn't be shaking uncontrollably. Okay, if it's doing that, then you're pulling too hard. Just relax a little bit or try to bend that knee a little bit more. Okay, a couple more breaths here. Just a gentle pull of the leg in. In yoga, we're looking for our edge, that place where we feel like progress is happening, but where it's not extreme. We're not forcing ourselves into something that is totally unnatural. It's totally natural, right? And taking that strap into the right hand, or just taking the right hand over to somewhere on the outer edge of the left leg, and just draw that leg a couple inches over to the right until you feel a nice stretch through the IT band area, maybe even into the shin. If you can grab a hold of the foot, great. You can start to draw the toes in towards you and add the calf as well. Good, last two breaths here, filling up. As you exhale, relax those shoulders down. Maybe pulling the leg over a little bit more, looking for that edge. So we really want to focus on the feeling of each pose, not what we think it's supposed to look like. So focusing on yourself and your own experience, and come back to center. Good, release the strap down. Let's hug both knees into the chest. All right, we've made it to the last pose here. So just give those knees a hug in, and then we're gonna come into reclined cobbler's pose. So put the soles of the feet on the floor, and then let the knees fall out wide, and the soles of the feet come together. All right, so this is a nice gravity-assisted posture. You just set it up, and then you can kind of relax. So walk those shoulders down the back. You can rest your hands on your belly or wherever they feel comfortable. Make sure you don't have a big arc in your low back here, so try to bring the low back a little bit closer to the floor. And go ahead and just close your eyes here. We're going to use this as a place to relax a little bit at the end of the practice as well. So shoulders are relaxed. Jaw is relaxed. Feel your knees getting heavier and sinking towards the floor. Really working on opening up the inner thighs, the adductors, and the groin here. Again, just enjoying a moment that is about you, bettering yourself for the benefit of everybody around you. Take 3 more deep breaths here. Just release where you can release. Deepen that breath. And slowly starting to make your way out of this. So you can use your hands to kind of help pull the knees back to center. And we're going to come up to seated, however you can get there. You can just rock up or roll over to your side. All right, just sitting up tall for a moment. Relax the shoulders. Close your eyes. Just notice how you feel right now. Notice anything that feels different in your body. We appreciate you taking a little time out of your day to do some self-care. See you out there.